It's not a bird, it's not a plane, it's Superhero Slate. It's a weekly podcast where we talk about everything that's great, like movies, TV, superheroes. It's Superhero Slate. Oh yeah.
Hello everyone and welcome to Superhero Slate, the show where we run down the latest superhero entertainment news.
We love TV, movies, and superheroes, so let's talk it all out.
My name is Chris.
Oh my gosh, right on it. My name is Mike, here with a old Powerade Zero bottle that I have water in. It makes no noise, and I've already been drinking it.
Yeah. It's I've been saving this can opening because we didn't do last week, so I had to save it for today. But this week we got some news from the past 2 weeks. This week we get tangled in several Spider-Man webs. I feel like half of our news is Spider-Man over the past 2 weeks. The Mummy 4 gets that release date. Finally, it's official. God of War gets a remake, the original trilogy of games, and more.
Yeah, there was a rumor last week before that Spider-Noir trailer dropped that we might be getting the next Tom Holland Spider-Man trailer. So I was like, as it would be nice to see it, I also don't want to remake the thumbnail. Since we weren't able to record last week's episode, I was like, we'll be able to still use my thumbnail if we can just roll in. So we've only had one Spider-Man trailer over the last 2 weeks. So we weren't able to record last week, mainly because my whole house has been sick the entire month of February. Any combination of the three of us has had some sort of ailment this entire month, and we still have it a little bit. I feel like we've gotten something new, so you might hear a little bit more of a gravelly nature from me, but I'm on the mend, so definitely getting better every day, so that's great.
He's hydrated. He's hydrated, folks. He said he's got water in a Powerade bottle, so he's obviously staying hydrated.
It's also been like abnormally cold for Southern California this whole month, and my wife's eating it up because she loves it. But I want to be able to walk outside and bake in the sun again, and I'm sure I'll regret these words come July. But right now, I'm tired of running the heat, which is something you don't often have to do. I was gonna say
that's a rarity. I'm surprised you guys have heat and not just air conditioners.
Yeah, exactly. I'm putting little sockies on when I walk around the house so my toesies don't get cold. And I say this as I know a blizzard is about to hit the other half of the country. So apologies for that. And I can apologize for one more thing, too. A little community note, as people like to call it now. About a month ago, I think on the show I talked about going to the Bob Barker Marionette Theater here in Los Angeles, and it was a fun time. I have to say, though, not only is the theater not attributed to Bob Barker, the man that was the host of The Price is Right during our childhood, it's not even Barker. It's Bob Baker. I've just been reading it wrong the whole time, and I feel like an idiot. I didn't realize it until yesterday, until I saw a Bob Baker Marionette Theater t-shirt, and I was reading it, and I was like, that's weird. It says Baker, not Barker. And I was like, oh my God, I'm an idiot. No wonder when I was Googling this months ago, I was like, where's the connection with Bob Barker? I don't understand. And like, why isn't his face anywhere in the theater? You think, you'd frame it and put it up on the wall, and I feel like an idiot.
They didn't even ask you about your pets getting spayed and neutered. It's totally off brand.
This is just a great example of how you should not really get any of your facts and figures from any podcaster anywhere, because we're all fools and just purely listen to us for a sense of entertainment. We are not journalists. No. Even when I physically go to these places, I can't even remember how to say them.
We strive to bring the news to you folks, but anything outside of our purview of comic book movies, superhero movies, TV shows, that you take it with a grain of salt, right?
We're glorified parrots, and even the best talking parrot sometimes doesn't say something correctly.
Yeah,
squawk, squawk.
It's okay. I'm glad you came to the show. We started the show off with a community note, a correction. He's issued his apology. Bob Baker, Marionette, please accept his apology. He didn't mean to put an hour in there, but that's fine. You know, I haven't got a chance to watch a lot in the past few weeks. It's been busy, but I did want to call. I think what I told you a serendipitous moment, or is it serendipitous, or it wasn't a coincidence. Last Sunday, my wife went to a concert out of town with her sister on a Sunday evening, so she got home late. So I got to go to bed first, which is rare for me because she usually goes to bed way before I do. And I was like, I'll put on a movie because I'm not really tired yet, and maybe I'll fall asleep to it. And it was Muppet Treasure Island is what I was craving, Mike. I really needed to hear about Mr. Bimble hiring this crew for the ship. And I think I saw something about Tim Curry as well, so that kind of spawned my like, oh yeah, love Tim Curry. Literally Monday morning was the 30th anniversary of Muppet Treasure Island releasing in theaters. I was like, what is the timing of this? Like, is it just in my DNA to be like all Muppets all time? And like,
yeah, you just sensed it.
Yeah, as a hive mind. But it was a fun time to do it. And like, my wife got home. It was like pretty early on, so we got we always sing along to Cabin Fever and the other. All those songs are catchy in that one. But also, it's one of the few Muppet movies that talks about murder quite a bit, like because it's pirates and there's murdering things, and they're in a room with a dead man at one point, as Rizzo says. But anyway, I had to bring Muppets back somehow because obviously it's hot on my mind right now.
It's not going to be the last time we talk about pirates on this episode either.
No, it's not. And probably characters that could have been puppets, but end up being probably more CGI as well. With that, so let's get into the news. Let's just we're not really jumping into it at this point. We're like 7 minutes in, but let's get into the news here. And I want to talk about Sony dropped us with a state of play last week, which is always a good time when they drop a random state of play. You never know what you're gonna get, right? A lot of people. I was hoping for a Wolverine release date for Insomniac, because I feel like that is going to be this calendar year. But alas, we didn't get it. But instead, we got 3 games. We got three and a half. We'll talk about here. Number 1 is Star Wars Galactic Racer, and as someone who was around during Episode 1's big marketing media push craze in the late 90s, early 2000s, I played quite a bit of Star Wars Pod Racer and even the arcade version of the Pod Racer games. And pod racing, the big part of Episode 1, they that's like, it's like a third of the film, right, is them racing those pods in that movie. It feels like. So huge part of the movie, and then the games. And now we get Galactic Racer, which takes place, I believe, post it's at least after Return of the Jedi, but I think it's before the new, I don't care what the timeline is. Either way, they're picking back up with this racer made by the people who made the Burnout games. And I don't know if you played the Burnout games, Mike, in the early aughts, but they are the ones where you race and your point is to crash into some, like if you crash people off, it's that arcadey, the car slows down and like kind of destroys itself. You get to do that with the racing in this. And these aren't just purely pod racing, these are other spaceships. And you're going across planets. There's going to be other, probably a lot more than what we saw in here. But one of the fun, there's 2 fun little throwbacks for me. One is Ben Quadaneros, an original pod racer from Episode 1, makes an appearance. He looks like a stink bug shaped kind of dude. And then obviously the nefarious, the evil Sebulba returns with a gray beard, because obviously that's how you show time passes in a universe. You grow a little gray beard.
Yeah, Sebulba seems like a litmus test out there for, do you think he's evil, or do you just think he's a shrewd businessman just trying to keep his books balanced? Yeah, he's kind of become
he threw that wrench.
iconic.
He threw that wrench in that pod racer. He's evil.
Oh, I know. I'm thinking of I'm confusing Sebulba with who's the little
Watto.
Fat Watto. Yeah,
Watto.
Was Watto in the trailer? Did I miss Watto?
No, Watto's not in here because he's just on Tatooine. He I don't know. He looked pretty old, and he wouldn't make it past Episode 2.
They're both sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
Sebulba, he's just a shrewd racer. I mean, come on. If you had to put your money down, I think you'd put it down on Sebulba. I mean, it's so funny. The the analysis of the prequels has been done ad nauseum, obviously. So I don't think we have anything new to add to that. But I think it is pretty iconic pod racing. Like, of all the things George Lucas can do with Star Wars, he could dream up some pretty cool stuff that can stand the test of time. And I don't think anything in Star Wars since then has kind of really created anything new outside of new characters, right? You know, we've seen like new characters and they've got like, you know, there's always like a new like tilt or a creative touch to like a lightsaber, right? Yeah. Like pod racing was like a whole new thing created out of whole cloth, and it's cool. It's sparked some fun games, and I'm excited to go back to it.
Yeah, and like I said, this is as we like, it looks kind of like maybe like a Need for Speed in the Star Wars. Like, you know, you're racing on like there's Jakku and like the remnants of the Star Destroyer. There's some, you know, as is Star Wars tradition, every planet has like one geographical feature that just is the entire planet. Like there's a sand one, and there's like a water one, and a snow one, and a tree one. But you know, it's, to me, and I think you've mentioned this before, most of these early trailers like this are probably like trying to maybe get some people involved to work on this. This says it's coming out 2026. I don't love the ship designs. I think they're a little boring so far, watching this trailer. But I do like the gameplay. Burnout 3 was one of my favorite games, like when I got an original Xbox, and I played the hell out of that game. And this just gives me those fun arcadey racing vibes. I don't want a Gran Turismo in the Star Wars universe. Like, give me something that's not going to make any sense, where you can crash a ship and still be alive. But I'm excited. This looks like I'm going to say probably maybe like a, not a low stakes game, but like I don't have a dog in this fight. It looks like a fun time to do some racing in the outer rim of the Star Wars galaxy, as the trailer says. So you can check that out. Right after that, we got something that ties into movies, something we watched, John Wick. The Untitled John Wick game from Saber Interactive was announced, where you get to play as Keanu Reeves. This is set in the franchise timeline, so this movie or this game will be part of the singular John Wick lore, if you will, where you get looks like improvised weapons, do some up close brawling, some shooting. This reminds me a lot of like maybe it's like those games like where you have like a lot of executions you're contributing. Like, this isn't a shooter, this isn't a cover shooter. It looks more like you're going to be brawling up close rather than just doing shooting the entire time. Along the ways, what did you think of it? I don't know what to make of this one yet, and I want to get your thoughts on it, Mike, because you're my litmus test here.
The problem is I don't usually have a great background on like game development studios. You know, when we're talking about like TV projects or movie projects, I can look at like the director, the writer, the studio to kind of figure out, should I look forward to this adaptation or not? So just watching the trailer's hype. I mean, for sure, I surprisingly had never even considered the John Wick universe dipping into games. So it was kind of a bit of a mind-blowing thing hearing this. I was like, oh, wait, yeah, they can totally do this. And I haven't had a chance to watch The Ballerina yet.
Mm-hmm. It's good. I enjoyed it.
So I don't really know exactly how flexible kind of like the John Wick timeline is, but you could make so much content with anything that happens before the first movie, right? He had an entire career in this world, and he was like feared and adored in it. So if you're making like a game that doesn't have to be so, you know, so much of a stickler, you know, for moving the plot forward of the world, yeah, you could just drop any game in across his career, and it would be amazing and fun. And since he's, you know, CG modeled, you can de-age him a little bit, make him a little bit younger, maybe a little fiercer. I'm excited. It would be cool if like maybe, I mean, I don't know if this is movie territory. Maybe they'd want to save this story for the movies, but it would be really cool if they could craft the games in such a way, if they're really good, like maybe they could do a trilogy that kind of leads up to the first movie, right? You can kind of see, what's his like last mission before he retires. But now that I'm saying that, did they cover that in these 4 movies already? I don't know. It's been a minute since
I don't think so. This is the second John Wick game. The other one was called like John Wick Hex, which is like a turn-based like tile kind of video game. They did one with like Tomb Raider. I don't think this is a prequel, but like the problem is like I imagine in my head these John Wick's games are playing kind of like the Hitman games a little bit. But would younger John Wick be a Hitman style? Like, was he doing Hitman stuff, or was he just like, more of a, hey, go into a room and shoot everybody like he's doing later on? Like, how does the actual assassination teams work in the John Wick universe? It's kind of, because I don't know how this game, I'm watching this and the trailer is pretty hyped to see this, but I don't know as a gamer. Like, again, like I said, he's not walking into a room shooting things. So, like, are you just up close brawling with people, moving from, like, one to the next? Kind of like a Souls-type game, except with, like, human bodies instead of, like, other things?
Yeah. It's funny. You'd have to keep it kinetic. Or maybe not. I don't know. Maybe they can kind of reinvent the vision of John Wick. Because when I think about those movies, it's a roller coaster ride from start to finish. Every single movie, and I'm at the edge of my seat, and I'm loving it. So if you want to recreate that in a video game, you kind of almost have to throw out maybe a Hitman style like stealth component, because you can like entirely play Hitman levels like in stealth, right? And that's what I would do if I was a John Wick situation, because I was like, no, I'm a scaredy baby. I'm just going to sneak up on everybody and kill them. So yeah, if they can like craft the gameplay in such a way, like imagine if you're playing like a Spider-Man game, right? Yeah, you can play some of the levels like in stealth, but usually it's like you're dropping in on a bunch of dudes, you're doing a bunch of like button combos, you're chaining a bunch of stuff together. And there's a part in the trailer for this where, I think John Wick is like close. He's like moving the gun, whacking people with it. And then he's like jamming it like under their like jaw and like pulling the trigger. Like I could see that being a really cool like combo to pull off.
Yeah. And a lot of the times like the people after John Wick, they're like I guess later on there's like the mercenary army. Most of them are just other hitmen along the way, right? Like trying to, because they have a bounty on his head. So I don't know how this would play, but like I agree with you. Like it's got to have a good loop to it that doesn't feel like you're just kind of like waiting around for everywhere. But for those for you who don't know Saber and Active, they are currently working on the Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake. They are also working on the Avatar: The Last Airbender video game that's coming out. They have this John Wick title in there. They did the Halo anniversary games like in like the 2010s. They did that. They have a lot of, again, I don't know like who's making it, but I also know like as a studio they do quite a bit of games, so I don't have any faith like this isn't like a small studio who's gonna not know what to do with it. I think they'll have the resources to bring it to fruition for us overall. But yeah, that's John Wick game again when it comes out. I keep. I don't know if I'm gonna jump on this, but I do want to see more. I think there's like, it's not the Game Awards in the summer, it's the summer version of the Game Awards. I guarantee it'll be there. And I would not be surprised if they bring Keanu Reeves out on stage to talk about this game as well. And he's got a history in games, right? Like Cyberpunk. He was one of the main characters in that and other ones. So glad to have him back. God of War. Mike, I'll make it honest, I never played the original God of War games. I've only started with 2018's God of War and then God of War Ragnarok. I saw people play them, but I never played them myself. I just didn't have them. PlayStation was an Xbox at the time. And Sony announced the God of War Trilogy remake from Santa Monica Studios. And they have, I think it's the original voice actor for, T.C. Carson is the Kratos voice actor from the original early 2000s, not the newer ones. He's coming back to do some of that new updated stuff. But this is a 20-year God of War anniversary. This is a great opportunity, I think, for me, Mike, to visit these games that I never got to play on and to do it on a modern system. Have you ever played any of these?
Nope. Same scenario as you, watched people play them. It would be interesting to see how they update it, because the only thing I remember about the original games is they were kind of like the the tip of the spear of gaming doing a lot of QuickTime events. I just remember QuickTime events were the conversation, and then also there was like a hack that you could do where you could like see naked women when they bathed you or something like that. That was the hard-hitting news when I was a teenager in video games.
The important things.
QuickTime events and trying to see a nipple in your video game.
Yeah.
So obviously all of those things can be in high def now. It's funny because a lot of these remakes get announced, and then just like everything, there's a long development cycle. And the last remake that was announced that I was really excited for was Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater. And it was announced, I think it's called Metal Gear Solid Delta. And I was like, oh, this is going to be great. I can't wait for it to come out, and I'm going to play it. And then when I was on Amazon the other day, I saw that it was not only available, it was discounted for like $30, so I bought it. So that'll be showing up this week. So it's funny. Sometimes there can be like a lot of hype when these remakes get announced, and then I don't know, maybe I'm not as much in the game sphere as some other people are, but like I was like a Metal Gear kid when growing up, so I thought for sure I would have heard when it dropped, but I didn't. So anyway, if you're into God of War and you want to play the remake, I guess maybe put a notification in your phone if you're like me.
here's the thing. A couple of things with this. There's no... So I'm going to say the word remake is interesting because the only other game I know that uses remake instead of remaster is the Final Fantasy VII remake, where they actually changed the game. Like, they didn't just modernize it. They changed the story, too. So with them using remake, and it's also being another Sony exclusive property, at the time, do you think that this will be not just a remaster, but an actual, like, hey, we updated some of the game systems to match the 2018 one because we've already got those built and people enjoy those, but we're going to retrofit some of that stuff into the old game.
Also, too, they're saying original trilogy. I feel like that's a pretty bold thing to remake before like doing one of them and seeing how it does and what the development cycle is like and how much time does it take and what's your ROI on just one game. Yeah. So it almost makes me go, oh, maybe it's just like an HD remaster. So they can just do all three at once. I don't know.
Yeah, it could be. And then there's also the PSP game, which I'm surprised. I think it's like Chains of Olympus. I'm surprised they didn't put that in here. But yeah, I think this will be in the news because it's owned by Sony directly, right? PlayStation. It's an exclusive. Like Metal Gear Solid was everywhere. But at the same time, they are filming that God of War show, right? They've been casting. I think this will probably come out very close to the launch of that show, like to tie it in together, is what I'm thinking. Because you don't start filming a show and then say you're remaking your original 3 games without trying to have some of that corporate synergy, if you will. I'm using air quotes over here to do that. So I think that's what they're going to do, but. Regardless, I've never played it. I think this is going to be a great opportunity for me to get my toes wet in the God of War game. Because, like I said, I played the others, love them, and these will be great. The other thing they actually announced and stealth dropped is another God of War Sons of Sparta prequel game. You mentioned the John Wick prequel. This is literally the prequel to Kratos before he gets the game starts, where he was a Spartan. Is like running around. Side-scrolling pixel action. I don't think it's a roguelite. It's more of a platformer, but you can be Kratos and his brother as Deimos, a 2-player in this little side-scrolling pixel game platformer. They got the trailer here. It looks fine. I don't have any history with the original game, so it'd be hard for me to maybe dive into this, but I love the pixel side-scrolling art style. Like, it really looks like a pretty game with the lore and everything. But any interest in this one, Mike?
Possibly. Like with every video game, it just depends when it's released and what I'm doing at the time.
Yeah. Side-scrolling is interesting. Like I said, for this, it's just a whole different gameplay. But that's the beauty of having a franchise. If someone's got a good platforming gameplay loop, go for it. I think the mythical creatures of I guess Rome kind of fit into this a little bit. So if anyone's really into God of War, you got another game that dropped, and you can play that immediately. Speaking of mythical creatures, Mike, The Mummy for Brandon Fraser and Rachel Weisz have both closed deals to return as Rick and Evelyn O'Connell in the movie. We know this is kind of in the works for a couple months now, but it's good to have that confirmation with a release date of May 19th, 2028. The fun part, I bet, I almost want to put money on it, Mike. They're going to ignore The Mummy 3, Tomb of the Dragon Emperor, because Rachel Weisz did not play Evelyn O'Connell in that film. They had another actress. And I guarantee you, like, I remember we were talking about, you were like, I don't remember this movie but until I mentioned the Yeti snowboarding, or like, you know, playing snow football in like an avalanche. I think you said you like had like felt like a fever dream when I was telling you about it. So I bet they'll ignore the second one, but this is fun. This is exactly the kind of legacy sequel I think we need this decade.
Yeah, don't get it confused with a trailer that came out this week for another Mummy movie that it looks more like a Insidious horror style, like exorcism movie.
Lee Cronin's The Mummy, which is not what you want to be watching.
It looks crazy. If I was somebody that was into kind of horror, like it seems like it would be right up somebody's alley, because it kind of has the possessed daughter at home setting, but also it seems like somebody's also doing like an investigation in a tomb, like back and forth type of deal. So I was like, oh, that's an interesting setting. Usually you don't kind of get both of those mashed up. So The Mummy's hot. I mean, it's free IP, if you will. Nobody owns it, so anybody can make a Mummy movie.
Yeah, well, exactly. I mean, it is that, but I think picking up on the one Mummy movie franchise where I say two out of three are really good. We're not going to count the Scorpion King spinoffs, but you know, I really, again, I've watched them recently. I'll probably watch them about once a year. They're very just of the late 90s, you know, kind of vibe, and it works so well. And I always say, how cool would it have been if they continued Brandon Fraser like dealing with other Universal style monsters like in that world. So do you think they'll bring back the original Mummy? The I can't remember the guy's name, but Emotep, I believe.
Yeah, that's a great question. It would make a lot of sense, right? You know, you're revisiting all of your old friends and villains. Like, why not bring them back? Mm-hmm. But if you feel like you got enough juice in here for more than one movie, you might as well try to pivot them towards something else. Yeah. But then also, like, I'm sure it's going to be called The Mummy. So, like, if you want to do something fun, like maybe they're chasing a werewolf or a different type of monster, you still got to somehow put a mummy in there some way. So I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, because, like, Tomb of the Dragon Emperor, like, the first two were the same mummy, right? Like, I'm pretty sure. No, well, yeah, because I was like the Scorpion King, I guess, was the other one. So, like, they were dealing with, like, Egyptian stuff, but, like, Tomb of the Dragon Emperor just wasn't very good. So I would love for them to go back and find a mummy in Egypt, to be honest.
Yeah.
But.
Like, well, didn't Rachel Weisz's character, she started to get possessed at the very end of the first movie, right? Like, I think, like, there might have even been, like, a VFX shot of, like, a spirit leaving her body, and then they steal the book and close it or read it or throw it away or something, and then it, like, goes back in her or something. So maybe a way that they can kind of throw a little bit of, like, mummy in it is maybe somebody's, like, dying or something, and they're like, oh, well, let's go to Egypt and get this book and we'll bring you back to life or something, and then that sets off a chain of events. I don't know.
Yeah.
Picture random stuff here.
Yeah, I think let's look in, because they were using her to resurrect Anxu Namun, the lady one. So I was like, maybe it's, I mean, I don't know, maybe it's just another Egyptian one, but, like, you know, maybe technically right now in their universe, Rachel Weisz is on paper a mummy in some sense, because she died and
for a second and came back, so maybe she's the titular mummy of the movie. I don't know. I'm just happy to see Brendan Fraser again.
Yeah.
I hope they bring back. He got eaten by the scarabs. What was his name? Benny. I just want to see him be yelled at again. But he was eaten. Maybe he's the mummy. Maybe that's our mummy. We can get Benny back, and Brendan Fraser can yell at him again. It's the best part of the movie.
Did he come back in the second one?
Oh, good question.
No, he did die. It looks like, it looks like he did die. Just looking it up here. The Mummy Returns, but the thing is, in 2028, are people like, there was like, remember like in the 90s, it was pyramids and mummies and uncovering those things. That was like a big craze. Is that craze? Is that draw still there 30 years later? And like, I understand they went to China for the other mummy. Could this be a European mummy that kind of maybe ties into vampires or something like that, right? Because like, again, mummies don't have to be in Egypt. That just happens to be where this one was. But I don't know. I like you said, regardless, I'm excited for both of them to return. Not just Brendan Fraser, but both of them coming back for this, because I think they both had that on-screen charisma that needed that movie to pull forward. What a lovely adventure. So I'll be there in theaters in 2 years to watch this. So we'll report back and do a review then. One Piece Into the Grand Line, also known as Season 2, gave us a big official trailer. And I think we talked about this kind of as it kind of came out here. I love the sets in this. And then the big thing here is the ending. We get the reveal of the deer medic Tony Chopper and his deer form, and then also his regular form with his big fuzzy hat with an X on it. And Mike, I say this every time we watch some of this, I love how goddamn goofy this show is and how much they lean into that anime aesthetic for everything. Like, some guy shoots did you see the guy who shot his gloves? Yeah. Like smoky gloves flying through there. That one dude takes his 3 swords, cuts a table into thirds and kicks it. Jamie Lee Curtis is a doctor in here. I can't wait for this to drop next month. Like, we are 2 weeks away, and I'm just like craving some more One Piece.
Yeah, I'm already so pirate pilled from watching Black Sails. I just want all the pirate content right now. Like, I'm just having this trailer like loop in the background while we talk, because it's so insane. I feel like this is like the equivalent of if you went back in time and just like showed like a spoon to a caveman or something like that. They'd be so fascinated. Like, imagine going back to the 80s or something and showing somebody this trailer. They'd be like, what are you watching in the year 2026? I find the world so fascinating. Like, not even just like, oh, pirates, but like Luffy is wearing like a baseball jersey in the trailer, and it's just like baseball exists. It's such a bizarre, wonky world. I think there's a kind of like a Western set that's shown in this. So it's just a mishmash of a bunch of just kind of like antiquated like times in history, just kind of all mashing up. There's like fancy revolvers. There's a giant cake in like the middle of the forest that I don't understand. It's a live action cartoon. Yeah. And it's so silly. We are so stoked.
Yeah. And it's not, I apologize, it's not Jamie Lee Curtis, it's Katie Seagal, who's actually the doctor in this. They wanted that. Looks like the ship gets eaten by a whale. There's 2 giants as well, a talking deer. I like the baseball thing's funny for me because, like, as someone who watches like Dragon Ball occasionally, like they have like those filler episodes where like they're playing baseball or something like that, or like they're doing a driving test episode, and like that's what I imagine. Like, this is like a scene where they're doing some sort of weird thing, kind of along the way to like, oh, we're gonna play baseball as the scene opens, because everyone's in a different outfit in that scene as well than their normal clothes. So, but like, I don't know anything about this show still, other than the first season, and I am just ready to dive in, Mike. I'm ready to not just pirate theme, but like just get into how goofy and like, I guess They're charismatic. The actors in this are so good at what they do. Like, it just makes me really love watching them. So, also the dinosaurs. We didn't even talk about the dinosaurs. It's like a Jurassic Park's couple scenes as well. So, I don't know what to expect. I love it. Whatever the grand line is, it's about to really thrill us in March, Mike. So, that's coming out again March 10th on Netflix. Let's switch into Marvel stuff. We're about to get to our Spider-Man, folks. Don't you worry. I know you're craving it. Avengers Doomsday, reports have been that Ghost Rider is now not likely to be in the movie. I know we've talked about that for like a year. But he's like the rumored to be casting Ghost Rider and he'll be in Doomsday. But it sounds like they are not going to put him in there. And to that, I say that's fine. We don't need to add more Ghost Riders in there.
Don't forget, people. Secret Wars. It's still coming, and there'll be even more in there. I'm sure of it.
The only Ghost Rider I would take, I guess the one from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s fine, but Nicolas Cage, who we're also going to talk about today. Nicolas Cage as Ghost Rider would be a fun little scene. A little like when they're doing like, all the classic characters are getting together to this big battle before we send them off. Would be fine. But Ghost Rider not being in Doomsday, perfectly fine with me. I do think, we'll talk a little bit about it here in a second. I don't think we're going to get any more videos for this one for a hot minute. I think they're doing reshoots, and we'll be picking up Secret Wars in the next couple months. So I think we're going to probably not see anything until maybe the summer, like Mandalorian and Grogu, which also had a trailer that I haven't had a chance to watch. So we'll talk about that next week. But I think that'll be when we get the next Doomsday footage. Moving on to Spider-Man Brand New Day. The trailer for this is not dropped, as Mike said. I do still think it'll be March, that 4-month window, when we go back and look at how, when we looked at the old trailers, the first one was like 4 months before the movie came out, so I think that's what they'll do. But a synopsis by a book company, so Penguin Random House, has revealed that the movie picks up 4 years after the last one, which makes sense. So the last one was in 22, wasn't it? No Way Home, 2021. So it's been 5 years in person when this comes out. So 4 years in universe. So that lines up, right? For that?
Yeah.
Fine with me. Some merchandise for the move has landed, including some Takis. We get our first look at the Spider-Man suit and his weird new shoe bottoms from these Taki flavors, which I don't know what's on the bottom of his feet, Mike. Maybe like extra grips or something, just a stylistic choice.
I'm sure there's an Adidas or a Nike collab that's going to happen when the movie drops. And the shoes, there'll be like 100 of them that they'll make, and there'll be lines around the block. People will buy them, speculate them, and resell them on eBay, and then no one will actually wear them. So I'm sure we'll see the bottoms of these again.
Yes. The only thing I will take away from this that you may not have really noticed right away, Mike, is he does not have web shooters in this photo. He's doing the Tobey Maguire thing with the hand and the web coming out of his wrist. Or do you think that's just an artistic choice?
That is a great question. We were kind of bouncing around the first 2 Tobey Maguire movies last weekend, just giving them a rewatch. We gave my daughter a really big, like 12-inch, like posable Spider-Man action figure that I had received as a gift, I believe, from my brother years ago at Christmas. And I was like, I'm gonna let my 1.5-year-old play with it, and she can't quite say Spider-Man yet, but she can kind of say syllables that sound similar to Spider-Man, so that was cute. And I was like, all right, well, if you're loving this Spider-Man doll, I'm gonna put some Spider-Man on the TV. But of course, when you have a toddler, they have no attention span, and so we just end up watching bits and parts of it. But my wife and I were reminiscing about like, these first 2 movies are so good. We love them so much, and I just cannot get over how genuinely genius of an idea it was to give Tobey Maguire organic web shooters, because it just solves so many narrative problems in your live action adaptation that I'm really curious if I could go back in time and look at the really old internet, like on message boards, like what was the discourse around the web shooters. Because in a comic book, you can suspend your disbelief that there is a really smart teenager that can build these web shooters, right? And remember, he's not just building the web shooters; he's building the fluid compound that makes the webbing. And when you try to translate that to live action, like, it's such a phenomenal invention already for the universe to attribute it to, like, a teenager who also has superpowers. It's almost like, okay, what can't this kid do? Like, he's almost, like, more interesting without the superpowers, that he's, like, so smart that he can make this. Because, like, imagine, like, the implications of being able to, like, make this webbing and put it in a compact, like, web shooter and stuff. You know, they kind of, like, Stark talks about it a little bit with the Tom Holland Spider-Man, but he kind of just like, oh, this is neat. You know, I have fun toys too as well.
Yeah.
But it just works so well in Sam Raimi's universe. And also, it just makes a lot of sense, right? Like, why wouldn't Spider-Man have organic web shooters? Like, if he has all of these other spider abilities just in his human body, like, why wouldn't he shoot webs also? So, but now you have the problem of, like, well, now how do you explain moving from one to the other, right? Like, is Tom, is he doing genetic experimentation on himself? Or maybe is he going through some sort of big emotional life crisis, which we've seen in plenty of other Spider-Man stories, and then he's gaining new abilities.
Let me lay this on you. Number one, I agree with you, organic web shooting solves a lot of problems, because from video games, the old 90s video games for Spider-Man, you had a limited number of webs you could shoot because of your fluid, and I hated that. I hated that function so much. Organic ones in newer games, they don't have that limit. I love that. However, that also takes away, like, oh, what if he did run out of webs and had to use his brains? Like, you had to think on his feet. So I'm torn both ways with that. However, there was a comic book, I think after Sam Raimi gave the organic webbing, where Spider-Man, remember, and he kind of did this in the animated show, where he started turning into an actual spider, like that. Yes, like it started evolving into the spider.
I feel like we're going to be talking about that in the next topic too. But it would be interesting to see if they played with that.
Yeah, well, if Bruce Banner's in this movie, maybe he's having a problem with, like, maybe after he came back from the blip, he's evolving still, like, his body is changing into a spider. We just never knew because it's only been a few short years. So it could be an evolution in the movie, or maybe it's just an oversight on the artwork, because
honestly, that could be it too. We should be looking at the most likely explanation, that this is just Taki's packaging. Yeah. And this is just how the art is.
The other thing is he may have designed maybe more hidden web shooters, because the next image is a backpack and some school clothes, or some school items, like utility case, lunch kit, keychain, and it's got the same Spider-Man pose with that web hole on, like, his wrist. So it could be designated a hidden web shooter. But some of the cool things about this backpack is, if you look, there are 3 shadowy figures behind Spider-Man.
I've seen these this week as well.
Yeah,
and
so
I'm really curious how somebody with a boomerang makes it into New York City, and we don't just laugh him off the screen.
So I do think. Let's go through this. On the left of Spider-Man, by his left foot is a boomerang, not Captain Boomerang from the DC Boomerang. I do think he's in this movie as a joke. I think he's our comic relief villain, right? That we need. Behind Spider-Man's knee on the right, looking at him, is a scorpion, I believe, based on some of the concept art I've seen. But the concept art
tail kind of coming up around his right shoulder,
and the shadows around his eyes kind of give that scorpion mask. The one behind him, I've seen the less concept art of, and that's the Hulk. That's very much the Hulk behind Spider-Man there.
Oh yeah, I almost thought it was Tombstone for a second, but yeah.
So that's, to me, that's interesting that he's on it. But, like, okay, kids love the Hulk. Kids know who the Hulk is, right? Like, not a surprise there. So we got at least Boomerang, Scorpion, the Hulk. There are other concept art out there for another character called Tarantula. If you're from, and he's not got real spider powers. He's just more of he's got like a claw, or a blade on one of his feet, and it's more like a martial artist kind of character. I've seen a lot of rumors that maybe, like, not including the Hulk, but, like, the reason we've been rumored for so many villains is that potentially a could be a hidden Sinister Six movie, of like lower level, not lower level, but like mid-tier villains teaming up to take on Spider-Man, because they kind of already did that Sinister Six movie in No Way Home where he made them all heroes. So I don't know if that's going to be true or not, but there are definitely I don't know. There are too many rumors around Spider-Man for me to make any call whatsoever. But I'm going to look at the merchandise and assume that it was made with good faith merchandise. So I'm going to at least believe the Scorpion, Boomerang, and the Hulk are in this movie.
Also, I don't want to gloss over the fact that you said web hole, which which was hilarious to me. So now every time I look at Spider-Man, I'm going to be thinking about his web holes.
His web holes.
And that going forward, we promise you listeners, we will keep you updated on Peter's web holes and everything going on with them. So I just want to make that promise.
And is his web fluid creamy or not? That's the other question we have to be bringing up.
Chris, great question.
Yeah.
So we will be analyzing every pixel of this trailer whenever it comes out.
Yes.
And stay subscribed, folks. Do not unsubscribe.
Yes, we'll be talking a lot about web holes going forward. But anyway, Spider-Man Brand New Day, not a lot going on. Everyone still thinks Sadie Sink is Jean Grey as well. So I don't know. Until this movie tells me or shows me a trailer, I'm not going to believe a single damn thing on the internet. So we'll keep you posted. Spider-Noir, Nicolas Cage's Spider-Man vanity project, is what I'm calling this, because he played Spider-Noir he voiced Spider-Noir in the first Spider-Verse movie, and played it really well. So the first trailer for this Amazon series was released, confirming Nicolas Cage as Ben Reilly. It will release in both black and white version and a color version. So you can watch this movie or the show in this black and white episodes or color episodes. They all drop on the same day, by the way, on Prime, May 27th. Oh, okay. Which is it. So I'm going to be watching the colored version in the background because I can tell a lot more of what's going on in it. I don't believe this show was filmed for black and white, and it's a black and white post-production. So I really hope they do it right and they don't just apply a very generic black and white filter over the current show. Mike, right out the gate, this trailer is fucking batshit crazy. I hate to put it so vulgarly, but like I didn't know what to expect, but I also didn't know to expect like Nicolas Cage like kind of freaking out in a tent, like as he looks like he's maybe getting his spider powers for the first time, like throwing his head around. He's lying to people, fighting to people. I don't know what to expect, man. This isn't maybe a true noir show based on this trailer, but I'm here for it. What are you thinking?
Chris, I don't know what I was thinking. When this was announced that Nic Cage was going to be in it, I suppose maybe my mind went to Spider-Verse, Nic Cage, Spider-Noir, right? They're going to somehow find a way to bring this character into live action, and that's kind of the tone that I had in my head. I was not expecting him to go full Nic Cage in this show. The trailer is absolutely wild. He's doing weird. He's gesticulating all over the place. He's being crazy. He's making his weird Cage faces. He's bringing his crazy intonation to his line. This is like crazy. And also, like, I've missed out on a lot of like Nic Cage's recent work where he's been kind of like doing a resurgence, right? Mm-hmm. I feel like most people kind of fell off when he was kind of doing the schlock to pay the bills, and I'm sure he got a lot of good money for those like random, like what was the witch movie he did, or he did the one where there's like bees on them too.
Oh, those are a long time ago. Yeah, like that. Yeah. That was like early 2000s. But like, I will recommend Willy's Wonderland. Right, the one where it's essentially five.
I did watch that. Actually, okay. I did watch that. He was in a movie somewhat recently, I think, called Pig. That was really good. I think he was in something called, was it Mandy? Possibly.
Mandy was that. He was also he's dressed up as like a weird old looking person.
He was in that one with Pedro Pascal.
Incredibly massive. Weighted massive tones. Yeah.
I'm definitely dropping the ball on kind of just enjoying the current iteration of Nic Cage's career.
He's leaning into it. He's leaning into it, and I love it. And yeah, the only problem is like you can't use like the Spider-Noir from the anime movie is Peter Parker, so that's probably why they we'll let you borrow Spider-Noir, but you can't be Peter Parker. But this is the Spider-Man spin-off stuff I was hoping Sony would be doing, right? Like the stuff that we're gonna give you Madam Web or Kraven the Hunter and its awfulness. It's not like something that they're like we're gonna make sure they feel like they're serious, but they suck. This one leans into the wild. Like I went through all of the trailers here, or the entire trailer, frame by frame, and I also saw other articles. But I can see the character Black Cat is in here. She's the lady who asks him pretty early on to start at the beginning, and she's falling out of a thing. There's a Sandman in here. Did you see the guy with the sand on his face? In there, you get the Molten Man, which is the guy on fire. It is not Johnny Storm. It's a Molten Man who's a Spider-Man villain. A Man Spider. Did you see the weird Man Spider thing going on?
Yes, and that was like a flash. Like that was literally you have to keyframe frame by frame to see it.
Yeah, and then when he's walking down the alley. Pretty early on, you get to see Mr. Negative coming up, and another guy, Electro, the guy with the lightning powers in his hands. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, these episodes are going to be crazy, and I am 100% here for it. The main villain, who is supposed to be Brendan Gleeson, who's playing Silvermane as like the overall villain, isn't even in the trailer. Nowhere to be found at all. So I'm going to be seeing how wild and spectacular this 1920s New York is. I will say the one thing I didn't expect was full-on web swinging in New York. I did not expect this at all. Like I was like, you know what? They're going to probably do the least amount of web swinging possible. But they give us full shots of web swinging, like right out the gate and later on. So like I said, this thing looks absolutely wild. It looks like, again, I think it's another Nic Cage passion project, but he is bringing his A game to this along the way. Anything else on that, Mike? Because I mean, just it's hard to put this into coherence. It feels like I'm having a stroke talking about the show.
It's such a weird Being a Spider-Man fan is such a weird thing to be, right? You just really never know what you're going to get. Like I'm contributing maybe the things that we like about this because it's a Lord and Miller production, if I recall. Like I think their names pop up like from the Spider-Verse team or crew or something like that. So you either have to have Feige involved or Lord Miller involved to get something good. In the recent incarnations of the Spider universe, if you drop them and it's just Sony up to their craziness, that's when you got to worry. But this looks fun.
Yeah. The other thing is, with this kind of coming out, like I wonder, do you think there's another season here? Like, do you think this is a one-off thing? Do you think they're gonna leave it like, yeah, we think people will want more?
Good question. I mean, best case scenario, probably 3 seasons. Otherwise, I'm sure Nic Cage's rate skyrockets by season 4, how most TV shows operate. And by then, they're probably like, I think it's run its course. So, I mean, this trailer looks like it's got enough juice to make 3 seasons.
I bet they're going to see people buy in first. And Amazon's got money. I love the tagline, with no power comes no responsibility, as well. That's fun. I forget, Robbie Robertson, is the guy we see with the camera and the hat following him around that he's talking to. When he's like, I beat up some guys in the bar and got plastered. The guy he's talking to is Robbie Robertson from the Daily Bugle. So, pretty fun. Spider-Verse. We're going to talk a little bit about Spider-Verse. If you want to go back to the animated version of Spider-Man, and kind of hang out in that more Lord Miller stuff, Sony as president has confirmed that Spider-Gwen and Spider-Punk spin-offs are officially in the works. And we talked about Spider-Punk last year, and I think we've also mentioned Spider-Gwen, so this isn't like really news to me, I feel, but like I just wanted to say like, oh, they're reaffirming, hey, we're not just doing one Spider-Verse that has been delayed what feels like 5 ever. There will be more movies in this universe, and we're already working on them now to get them up and going. I did talk to listener to the show Patrick this weekend. I was at his house. We did a gaming weekend. Thank you, Patrick, for having us. We both agree Spider-Punk doesn't really stand out enough from that movie to warrant his own film, so I really hope they have a good idea for it. I think maybe the voice actor being Daniel Kaluuya is enough to maybe get that production made, but are these the characters from Spider-Verse you'd want to see spin-offs of, Mike? Or is there somebody else?
I mean, I weirdly think Sony doesn't have enough data yet. And as much as I want this third Spider-Verse movie to just be everything I want it to be, I love the world. I want it to make all the money at the box office. I feel like it, I don't know, like I don't want to like poo-poo like more Spider-Verse stuff because it's beautiful and amazing, right? But does Sony Animation like really have it in them to crank out more of these movies when this third one has been delayed so many times and so much work and passion goes into just getting one single one on the screen, that they're like, yeah, let's just start spinning off these other characters. I don't know. I feel like I'm more pessimistic, like, oh, is this actually even going to happen? Not so much, oh, I wouldn't want to watch them. So,
I think here my thought is Sony had little faith in the original Spider-Verse films. And they were like, we're going to make these, but like, you know, we're not going to, they probably didn't buff the studio or like the actual employees along the way. We've heard rumors that, you know, the third one was delayed because they didn't even have like, they didn't even start making it yet. They gave it the date, but didn't make it yet. So I don't think they had faith in it, from the beginning, but they saw the dollars coming. Like, this is the Spider stuff we got to be doing. Especially like it's not just movie dollars. Like think of all the toys, and you know, kids outfit stuff you see everywhere with the miles on it. Kind of after this came out, hell, I even got one for the first movie. But like I think they just didn't believe in it. But now they're like, hey, we have given up our live action Spider-Man plans, like our spin-off plans, because those actually did not do us any favors. I think they're going to go all in on this and stay away from live action stuff going forward. I think it's the other way if I was to take a swing at it. But Sony's not very smart, Mike. We know this, especially with Spider-Man along the way. Do you think they'll bring in this version of Nic Cage's Peter Parker, Ben Reilly, into the next Spider-Verse movie? Do you think they filmed a scene for him to be in there?
Oh, that'd be kind of funny because he wasn't in the second movie, so to see him pop up and Miles like, oh, my old friend's back, and he's just like all grizzled and like mean and acting crazy. He's like, you seem a little different this time around.
You're not the Spider-Noir, remember? I'm trying to remember at the end of the second one when Gwen gathers all their friends.
Oh, I think he was. I think he was there. Yeah.
I think visually he's there, but not a voice.
Yeah.
There. But yeah, I don't know. These don't really get me excited, but I will tell you the next thing we talk about, the animated Venom movie. Sony has confirmed they're working on in the shooting for an R-rated version of this, from the Final Destination Bloodlines directors, Zach Lipovsky and Adam B. Stein. This was news, I think, just 3 days ago. I think the Predator Killer of Killers success has spawned this into reality. An R-rated animated film.
This is literally the first time I'm hearing about it. I didn't even bother to read the last bullet of the show until we got to it. And now I'm thinking about this. My brain is like on fire because this sounds badass. Because the last animated version, I guess technically animated version of Venom, was in that last Spider-Man game that we played, and it's beautiful and it's amazing. So kind of maybe imagining like a fun animated visual style to it, you know, maybe Killer of Killers kind of had like a fun painterly style to it. I'm sure Spider-Verse is going to influence, every animated Spider project. And if they go R, they can just go crazy. I mean, I'm sure they'll build some sort of like physics engine for like blood and viscera.
Well,
and
goo.
It's going to be nuts.
They got to build it for his goo first, and then go.
Yeah, exactly. And if you're kind of setting things in an animated world, you could kind of really go high concept and bring Null in with that like sword and like that symbiote planet. Yeah, you could go to space. That would be really, really cool. Like, because we haven't really seen that in Spider-Verse. They've gone all over the multiverse, but just kind of being in outer space sounds badass too. Yeah. So yeah, I'm on board with this because they took away my last rated R project of The Last Ronin. It just vaporized.
Yeah.
I want to see my childhood come back and be extra violent.
I did hear that still could happen. It just may be delayed for you for The Last Ronin.
No. Okay.
But we'll see what happens at Paramount. Whatever the hell's going on over there. But this Venom movie, Tom Hardy is said to be involved in some capacity. They don't think he's going to voice it, but he did literally drag the other 3 movies across the finish line himself. So I think he's a producer. I think he'll just be a producer on this one. I don't want him to be connected to anything. And the more I thought about it, the more I'm like, we haven't seen Venom in the Spider-Verse art style halfway. He wasn't in any of those scenes in either movie. So it could definitely be a different visual style that's not Spider-Verse because we haven't seen him there. I think, to me, I'm kind of selfishly wanting like a Venom anime style. Like, imagine like how they get like how they draw like all their like the goo and like the amorphousness and like the pointy teeth and stuff like that. I think an anime style Venom movie would be beautiful for this, especially if it's R-rated.
That could be fun.
Biting heads off. You mentioned space is fine. They could lean into Null. I don't even know like who's the bad other than Null. Who would be the bad guy of this movie? Like, what's the actual story? It's what I was trying to wrap my head around. I'm like, I don't know, but there's a lot of potential. And then obviously Final Destination Bloodlines. I've heard good things about that. That didn't seem to like warrant any concerns for me.
It was fun. We watched it here at home in the comfort on our couches, and it's fun kills, right? That's why you watch the Final Destination movies. So if they're going into a Venom movie with that mentality of fun kills, like hell yeah.
Yeah. So this is to be like some pretty good news for Venom. So I will absolutely take that. Mike, that is the show for today. I got nothing else unless you want to add something in before we wrap it up and get out of here.
No, I have not mispronounced any other regional theaters in the area recently, so I think we're good.
Awesome. So it sounds good, but if people know what you're up to, what you're doing in the meantime, where can they find you at?
Yeah, all you have to do to read my webcomics is go to pickledcomics.com or liferewardsrisk.com. Chris, if people want to catch up with you, where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram, Valdan87, VALDAN, or Video Game Systems of the same name. If people know about the show, want to listen to some episodes, but not last week's because we weren't here. We took a health break. Where can they find all of those goodies at?
Oh, Chris, if people want to find our web hole, all you have to do is visit superheroslate.com. We are on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, wherever else you love listening to podcasts. We got merch at superheroslate.com/store. We love hearing from you. What are you listening to? What are you watching? What are you playing? We love our super fans. If you want to be a super fan of this show, all you have to do is share the show with a friend, share the show with a buddy, and we will be here every week, folks.
Yeah, or at least most weeks. And if not, we'll see you next week.
Alrighty. Bye.